Hello, today is 9/24 of 24, and I am back with a video of what I eat in a day on my keto journey. Let's talk a little bit slower. It's around 11. I just made my coffee. I still need to add my protein powder to it. I'm not hungry at all, just kind of ready for my coffee. But I want to make chili for us to have tonight for dinner. And you can make chili and just kind of have it ready right then. But I prefer to kind of let it simmer together for like a few hours, just because then the flavors really kind of come together and it can be delicious. So, of course, it's going to not have any beans because beans are high in carbs. But my thought had been to use this Kaizen pasta, which to me, I can taste the bean in it. I actually have two ways that I want to make this. One is in a chili and kind of replace the beans with this pasta. And then the other way is I want to cook it and then like mash it down because it will kind of just break down, and make like refried beans with it. But today I'm going to be making chili because it's been a bit cool. And so I just kind of feel like chili would be a nice meal for the chili day that we're having. My plan is to cook my meat. I'm actually going to be using turkey meat. I had bought it a while ago, and it's been in my freezer, because of the thought that, oh, turkey is high in protein, right? And so I want to try and use that versus like using some beef, just because, like they say, turkey is so lean and stuff. The problem is that when I was like after I had purchased this, when I was looking at it, it really has the same amount of protein as 93% lean ground beef, which is what I use. So I'm not getting any additional benefit by using turkey over the beef that I purchased. Like I said, it's 93% lean. So I don't know that it's something I would do again unless like I find that I really, really like it, but I don't think I will, just because of the dryness of the meat, but we'll see what happens. So if you were like wanting to make sure that you were getting like less fat in your diet, which I don't, I I wouldn't say I just eat as much as I want of fat. Um, like I do watch it a little bit, but I'm not closely watching it and being like, oh, I want to make sure I only have this much fat. Like that's not what I am doing. So for me, using the turkey, I'm sorry, using the beef over the turkey, like for flavor, is going to be just fine because I'm just not watching my fat that closely. And honestly, it's not like I'm way overeating fat anyway. So just kind of something to think about, like maybe make sure you read those labels because I didn't, right? Like I'm just like, oh, well, they say turkey is, like a higher protein, but turns out it's not a higher protein. Not in the way that like I buy it or use it, right? Like if you're someone who's normally going to buy say 80% lean ground beef, well then yeah, turkey is going to be higher in protein than that. And then, there's probably the cost factor, which I don't remember how much this pound of turkey costs, but you could use turkey in place of beef just because like, beef might be really expensive or something like that. So I'm not saying you can't use turkey or shouldn't use turkey. I'm just saying like if you look at the protein in turkey versus like 93% lean ground beef, it's the same. And so I probably would not make that choice to use turkey, except that I just have it and thought I should use it up. All right, so I am just dicing a little bit of onion that I have like left over from some onions that we had. This is probably going to constitute like a small to medium onion. We had some really big onions. Okay. Sometimes that core stays a little big. Okay, so then I'm just gonna move over to my stove and get this cooking with my turkey. And then while that's happening, I'm gonna get the rest of my ingredients into my slow cooker. I don't usually add olive oil to my meat that I'm kind of gonna fry up, but turkey is a pretty lean meat. And so I do want to add a little bit so that I can kind of make sure, for one, just so there's less sticking of the meat to the pan, um, and to help it like fry a little bit better. That's kind of what your uh, oil will do for you. I really don't like these packages. I wish it came in a different kind of package. So I'm just going to allow this to warm for a little bit, and then I'm going to add my onions in, and then I'll add my turkey in. It doesn't need very long. And I'm kind of doing this one-handed, so I might make a mess, like I often do. Okay. Got those in, and then I'll get this turkey in. That looks appetizing. Okay. All right, and then we want to add some seasoning because you always want to make sure that you're seasoning every layer. So I've got a half teaspoon of ground black pepper. And then I'm going to add a half teaspoon of salt. And then we will add more salt to like the liquid once we get that all together. And then I'm just going to let this cook and crumble it down while it's cooking. And I will get my other ingredients into my slow cooker pot. So I need a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, and a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. So I've got my diced tomatoes, my tomato sauce, and my tomato paste. Break up my meat some more. And then I need 1.5 cups of beef broth. So right up to my 1.5 cup line. There it is. And then we're going to add some seasonings. Now, my recipe calls for 2.5 tablespoons of chili powder. But I know that's going to be just a bit too much for my family. So I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon of chili powder. And then, like, we can add hot sauce or whatever to it. If we, if each individual feels like it needs to be a little spicier. But I feel like 1 tablespoon is really going to be kind of all that I need. And then I need 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, which it looks like I'm going to need to go get some more cumin out of my pantry. Yeah. All right, get this turkey broken up some more. Okay, and then add my other tablespoon of cumin. I need a tablespoon of garlic powder, which is a little difficult to get out of my small containers. There we go. And then I need a teaspoon of salt. There we go. And I'll just mix these all up. They will get, kind of blended together, and the tomato paste will break down a bit as it warms up. And then my plan for the pasta is to make the pasta about an hour before I intend to eat, and then add it into the pot and let it kind of sit in there for that last hour, because I do want it to kind of absorb some of those flavors from the chili. But I don't want it to just kind of turn into mush either. That's why I'm not just going to like add it in and let it sit there, like all day or anything. All right, and then once this meat is done, I can get it added to my pot and turn my slow cooker on low. Okay, so I'll just get this right into my slow cooker pot. Okay, and my lid, and like I said, I'll just turn on my slow cooker, and it's not like this needs to cook, so I don't really need to worry about like how many hours I'm keeping it on. So I'm just gonna actually set it for like 3 hours, but then I'll leave it on keep warm, so it'll still actually be kind of warming it, but just like at this really low kind of temperature until I'm ready to eat. It is about 12:15 and I am ready to eat now. My plan is to have a salmon pinwheel that I got from my local grocer. It's just a piece of salmon kind of in the shape of a pinwheel with some lobster stuffing inside of it. I'm just cooking that in my air fryer. And then I'm going to make myself a little salad. So I've just got some romaine lettuce and a little bit of Parmesan cheese and some Caesar dressing. That's all I'm going to kind of have in that salad, is really just to kind of get some of that crunch from the lettuce. And then I had this, what I think is a brilliant idea. So I've got my leftover fathead dough, right? And I've had it in the refrigerator because it's cheese, so I think that's where it needs to be stored, but I'm not actually sure. I'm just going to heat it up in my microwave just enough to like bring it to room temperature, really. And then I'm going to make myself like an olive oil mixture to like dip the bread in, like you do sometimes at some like Italian restaurants. They'll have bread and you dip it in oil and seasonings. That's what I'm going to make. So I've got my salmon pinwheel in my air fryer. I'm just letting that cook. I'm going to cut myself up my romaine lettuce. Probably about that much, I think. And then just a little bit of cheese and a little bit of dressing. I don't want too big of a salad just because I know I won't be able to eat a lot of it because I'm having the pinwheel and the bread. I'm almost out of dressing, so I have to use a tool to get it out. Okay, so then I'm just going to set this off to the side until I'm ready to eat and work on getting my oil mixture together. So I'm just going to put some in. I just want to make sure that it's like enough to like dip my bread in, right? Like I don't want just a little bit because then I won't really be able to dip my bread in. And I'm actually not sure about the amounts of my seasonings either. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So I've got some onion powder here. I don't think I want a lot of that. And then some garlic powder, which I do kind of want a lot of. I like garlic. So this is is this a half teaspoon? Yeah, this is a half teaspoon. I put a half teaspoon of it in there. And some Italian seasoning. And I think for this one, I think I actually want like a whole teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And some salt. And a little bit of grated parmesan in there. And then some ground black pepper too, to kind of balance it. A little bit more. There we go. And then I'll just kind of mix these together. Might have got too much cheese in there. And wait for my pinwheel to be done. Voila! I'm gonna go eat. So the oil mixture that I made was fantastic, and it went really well with the bread, actually. I think because the bread is a little on the dry side, and normally you would have that oil with like a French bread or a ciabatta, which are also a little on the dry side. So it went great. I actually kind of ate too much. Like all of that food was just a lot of food. So it was like 1,000 calories or close to it to have all of that. I didn't quite eat all of the bread and oil mixture, and I didn't quite eat all of the salmon. But I'm going to leave it logged in the system as full meals just because it's not like I only ate half. Like I did eat most of it, and like it's okay to kind of be reading a little bit on the high side, and I'll just kind of know that. And if I need like a few extra calories, at the end of the day, I'll be fine. I'll know that I'll have a little bit of margin in there. Although I probably will not eat the chili. I'll probably take a taste of it just because I want to know what it tastes like. But I just don't think there's any way that I can eat another full meal today. So if I have something else to eat today, it'll probably be something small, like maybe a yogurt or some popcorn or something that's just like a little bit because I'm pretty full. My chili is done. I cooked my noodles, added them in, and let them sit in there for about an hour. So this is what it looks like. It's pretty thick. I think I might thin it out just a little bit. I don't mind a thick chili, but it's just a little too thick, I think. All right, so I'm going to give it a try and see if my idea of using noodles for beans worked. Hmm. They're pretty mushy. They actually, it's weird because they feel more like a noodle than like when I ate them as noodles before. So it's odd. But I think they add a nice texture to it. I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, it's just exactly like beans, but I think it does add enough to make you feel like you're, closer to a chili where you have some beans in it. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's just like having beans, because it's not. But I do like the texture that it adds to it, and just that like hint of bean, right? That's in there. Maybe if I hadn't cooked the noodles as long, like maybe you'd get more, I don't know, like bean flavor or texture or something. Like maybe I needed to cook them not quite as long. I cooked them till two al dente, so I just cooked them the way I normally would a noodle. But it's good, and I will enjoy this meal, just not today. It is 5:15, and I am ready to have like the rest of the food that I'm going to have today. And it's really just about getting more protein in. I kind of just want to get it over with. So, I am going to make a protein shake. I am going to use my protein powder, some Fairlife milk. I'm going to use some of my Okios caramel, salted caramel uh, yogurt. And then I have to add more salt to it. I need more salt today, and I need to make sure that I'm getting it because it's not like I had high salt days over the last few days. So I do need to make sure I'm getting that in. So I am going to add a quarter teaspoon. I hope it doesn't make it taste too terrible. All right, so I'm going to use a half cup of milk. And like I said, a quarter teaspoon of salt. And my yogurt. It is salted caramel yogurt, so hopefully the flavor is okay. I would not say that it tastes like salted caramel. I would say it tastes more just like caramel, so that's helpful, I guess. Okay, and then 1 scoop of my protein powder, which is a quarter cup. There we go. That protein powder is so fine. Okay, and then I'm just gonna blend this all together. I've got some of my yogurt kind of sitting on the sidewalls. Oh, I see there's also some protein powder kind of sitting on the sidewalls. So I'm going to make sure all of that is kind of getting down in there, and I'll give it another quick blend. And get this into a cup. All right, I'm going to give it a try. Well, you can taste the salt in there, but it actually does enhance the flavor of that caramel. So it's really not bad. If I had my choice, I would only add maybe like an eighth of a teaspoon of salt, but the flavor is going to be fine. I'll be able to drink it. This is going to be my last meal of the day. So let's take a look at how my day turned out. I ended up under 1,500 calories for the day, which is a little higher than I normally go, but it's not a problem at all. It's still under the amount of calories that I burned today. So that's not a problem. My protein is 142, so that's really good. It probably is a little higher than it actually is because, like I said, I didn't quite eat all of the breadstick and the salmon pinwheel. So it's actually probably a little bit lower. So I'm glad that I got a little bit of buffer there. Net carbs is 27. My fiber is 3, which I don't know why that's on there. I need to remove that. And then my sodium is 35, 100. So right where I need it to be. I like it to be in that 3600 range. So that's why I made sure to add that salt to my protein shake, because it would have been like 3000 if I hadn't. So I'm really glad that I did that and that it turned out okay. So that was my day today. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.